You know what day it is. You woke up, you wiped the sleep out of your eyes, and then reality hit like a train. It's Monday. It's time to put the things I heard in God's house yesterday to work. Now we get to see if I really meant the decision I made yesterday. And that might create an interesting challenge for you on this particular Monday. I know there were a lot of churches in the Northeast who canceled due to a snowstorm. So, if your church was closed yesterday, you faced a challenge you might not even realize was a challenge. Many times we don't realize it, but we have been programmed by our society. This programming begins at an early age. If you grew up in a place where there is snow, then you can remember when you were in school, and you can remember if you so much as heard the word snow, you instantly began to pray for a snow day. Then you went to bed, and the next morning mom or dad woke you up and you were glued to the radio and the TV. You watched and you listened to see if your school would be canceled. If you're an adult, you might have been praying for something similar, looking for your workplace to be closed. Depending on how much you're paid, though, you might have been praying the opposite. You might have been willing to drive through a blizzard to make your day's wage. Then, it happens. You see it. Your school is closed. Woo-hoo! I get the day off. I don't have to go to school today. I can do whatever I like. So, maybe you go back to bed. Maybe you get yourself a big bowl of Lucky Charms. Maybe you plop down in front of the TV looking for some cartoons to watch. Maybe you put on your snow clothes and you hop on the four-wheeler and you go bomb around the woods for a while. You're on your own time. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Now you get to do whatever you want. Unfortunately, the things you want to do usually aren't productive. You see, that's what we learn as kids, and as adults, if we're not careful, that programming can carry into our adult life. So, yesterday, you had a decision to make if your church was canceled. What did you do? Did you go into default mode? Did you go back to bed? Maybe you did some adulting. Maybe you went out and you shoveled off the first 10 inches of snow, knowing that it would make it much easier when the next 10 inches came. Maybe you read a book. Maybe, as a family, you played a board game. Maybe your wife cooked a huge breakfast with the most American food ever created, bacon. You had a decision to make. What did you choose? Maybe because you didn't go to church, you forgot altogether that it was Sunday. Is it possible that even though it's Sunday, because you didn't go to church, that you didn't acknowledge the Lord at all? It just became another day full of the cares of this life with no regard for the Lord? Maybe that was it for you. Maybe you only go to church on Sunday. And since the Sunday morning service was canceled, it will be 7 more days. 13 days in total since you've been with the body of believers. You say, it's not my fault church was canceled. That's true. But you still had many choices to make. You see, in our day and age, we have so many opportunities. Technology can and often is used for evil, but it can also be used for good. Even if your church did not stream a Sunday morning services, there are so many places you could have gone for sound biblical teaching right there in your living room. Even if you were cold and you wanted to stay right there in bed on your phone, you could have watched sound, doctrinally correct teaching right there in your bed. You say, brother, I'm old. All that technology stuff just isn't working for me. Okay, I can understand that. Sometimes trying to make the computer compute and sometimes trying to make your phone is very frustrating. But you're still not off the hook. Just because church is canceled doesn't mean God's canceled. Doesn't mean it's not still the Lord's day. You have a copy of your own scriptures. You could have at least paused for a few moments to open God's word, to read it, and to acknowledge the Lord, and spend some time in prayer. So, a large portion of our challenge is really to review what you did yesterday and decide the next time there's a cancellation, how you're going to handle that. But, as I said earlier, sometimes in our childhood, we're programmed. And at the time, we don't even notice it. Now, when something happens, when work or church is canceled, we respond in a particular way without even thinking about it. If we could be programmed how to respond when weather causes a cancellation, what else might we have been programmed to do? What other ways might we be programmed that we don't even know about? Your Monday morning challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to inspect your life for programming, to dissect when this circumstance happens, why do I act the way I do? Once you begin to see some subconscious programs running in the background of your mind, I urge you, dig deeper into those programs. Ask, how does the Lord feel about that program? If God wrote that program, how would he have written it differently? Then do just that. Allow the Lord to rewrite your programming as he sees fit. Our autopilot is an awesome help to us if it's been programmed intentionally and biblically. As always, the choice is yours. Will you accept the challenge and begin to investigate the subconscious programming in your life? Or are you just going to keep swiping and continue in default mode?